Hi guys, welcome to my affordable watch collection. My name is Aviv, and today we are going to take a look at the Seiko SARB035, an absolutely gorgeous watch that has unfortunately been discontinued, a watch that is very hard to find faults with. Today we are going to try and answer the simple question: should you buy a SARB035 in 2021? The answer is, well, not that simple. This is another watch I got on loan from subscriber Alex, the same Alex who lent me his Glycine Airman 18 for review. He has been rocking it for a while now, and that's why you are going to see some scuffs and scratches on the watch. We'll just try to look past those. Thank you so much, Alex, for being such a big supporter of the channel and for letting me play around with your watches. The SARB035 was a part of Seiko's Spirit line, and it was discontinued in 2018. The thing you should keep in mind when you watch this video today is that this is a watch that used to sell for around $350 when it was still manufactured and readily available, but is now very hard to find new for less than $600 to $800, and I have even seen it go for 4 digits in some places. The watch comes in this usual no-frills Seiko box, with the usual Seiko manual and warranty. There's really no reason to delay over that. Let's take a closer look at the watch. The width of the case is 38mm, its thickness is 11.5, the distance between the lugs is 20mm, lug tip to lug tip is 44.5mm, and the watch weighs 135 grams. It is water resistant to 100 meters, which is great to have on this kind of watch. It has a great set of dimensions overall, and you'll see in a moment just how lovely it wears thanks to them. I guess you can call the SARB035 and its 033 black dial sibling dressy sports watches or sporty dress watches, with the light colored dial 035 being a bit more on the dressy side in my opinion. There's also a SARB037 with a salmon dial, but good luck finding one of those. The dial isn't actually white as it might appear at first glance, but rather kind of creamy off-white color. It has a very subtle sunburst effect that is pretty hard to pick up, but it does give the dial a gorgeous, almost pearl-like effect that looks different in different lighting conditions. There's a matching colored chapter ring on the very edge of the dial, with a black minute track printed on it. The indices are all applied. They are highly polished batons and have that line dividing each indice in the middle. As a result, they play wonderfully with the light. The 12 o'clock indice is doubled for distinction, and all others are single batons. At the very tip of each indice, on the side facing the center of the dial, there's a little loomed square. The 3 o'clock indice is missing, and instead there's a date complication window, white date wheel, and black numbers, surrounded by an applied silver frame. The Seiko logo is applied under the 12 o'clock marker, and automatic 23 joules is printed in black above the 6. On one side of that 6 o'clock marker it says Japan 6R15, referring to the country of origin and the movement's reference number, and on the other side it is some kind of a manufacturing batch number, but do let me know in the comments if you know otherwise. The SARB035 is equipped with a set of very nicely finished dolphin style hands. They are highly polished, faceted and loomed in the middle, and have a black accent line on their centers. The second hand is quite literally a needle hand, as it actually has a diamond-shaped eye of the needle tip on the counterbalance. The hands too play beautifully with the light, and together with the hour markers are very satisfying to look at. The loom on the hands and the bottom tips of the indices is Seiko's proprietary LumiBrite compound. It is known for its strength and durability, and is definitely above and beyond what you would expect on a dressy piece like this one. It makes the watch that much more versatile and functional, without looking out of place in any way. The 035 features a flat piece of scratch-resistant sapphire crystal that unfortunately has no anti-reflective coating applied on it. This does make it very reflective, but between you and me, that's mostly a problem when you try to take pictures of your watch and not when you're trying to read the time. The case is made of 316L stainless steel. It features an original design that is instantly recognizable as being a SARB035 or 033 case with a mixture of finely brushed and highly polished finishes. The tops of the lugs have this unique step that adds a bit of interest to the case. It is brushed on top and polished everywhere else, including the sides of the case and the fixed bezel. The finishing on the case seems to be made to a high standard, and you can tell the quality even with all the scuffs and scratches, courtesy of Alex, the owner of the watch. The lugs curve down beautifully in a way that makes the watch conform very well to the wrist. The crown on the 3 o'clock position is signed with S for Seiko. It has knurlings for good grip, and it is not protected by crown guards. It is a push-pull crown. It doesn't screw down. Twist it up to smoothly hand-wind the movement. Pull it to the first position and twist down to change the date. And pull it all the way out to the second operating position to set the time. You'll notice that the seconds hands stop moving. That is referred to as hacking. Around the back we have a display case back that screws down into place. It lets you look at the movement through the Hardlex crystal, which is Seiko's hardened mineral glass. It has pretty much the entire specs sheet engraved on the stainless steel ring. Seiko, automatic, water-resistant 10 bar, that's equivalent to 100 meters. Stainless steel, the watch's serial number, the movement's reference number. Made in Japan, Diashock, 23 joules. I think that's the most amount of information I ever saw on a case back. And then you have some of that information repeated on the movement's decorated rotor. This is a Seiko 6R15, an in-house automatic movement that has 23 joules. It beats at 21,600 beats per hour, has 50 hours of power reserve, which is great, and it both hacks and hand winds. Its stated accuracy coming out of Seiko's factory is between -15 to +25 seconds per day, and like all modern Seiko movements, it utilizes the Diashock shock protection system that protects it from the drops and blows your watch might encounter during the day. There are some reports of the 6R15 being a bit problematic and not as accurate as you would want it to be, but according to Alex, this one seems to work just fine. The watch comes on an oyster-style 3-links bracelet. It is where most of my gripes are going to be today, but it is by no means a bad bracelet. It is constructed of solid stainless steel links and solid end links, and has a mixture of finishes that looks really nice, a brushed finish on the tops of the links, and a high polish on the chamfered edges and the sides of the links. It tapers nicely from 20 down to 18, where it meets a rather small but nicely milled scissors clasp with Seiko pressed onto its top. It has a double pusher security system that does feel very secure, and only 2 holes for micro adjustment. It has female middle links on the end links, and that will help the watch wear great on smaller wrists. The links are held in place using the pin and collar system, and like I said, we will talk more on the bracelet in the con section later on. On wrist, this watch wears and feels absolutely great. When I first put it on my 7-inch wrist, I was like, whoa, this is so comfortable. The bracelet, even though I can't really get a perfect fit with it, feels really good against my wrist. The way the lugs curve down makes the watch wear very snugly. The 38mm size is great, and I think it should fit many different wrist sizes very well. This is without a doubt one of the best wearing watches I ever wore. Legibility, I guess, is not field watch good, but it's certainly good enough for this type of watch. You do get plenty of light play from the indices, the hands and the polished bezel, and that adds a lot to the beauty of the watch. Thanks to the neutral light colored dial, it should look great on many different straps, but I think it really belongs on a bracelet. If you don't like this one, you can easily replace it for something else. There are loads of aftermarket options out there. I guess you can tell by now that I really like this watch, but let's try to look at its pros and cons anyway. Starting with the cons today, first one is of course the prices creeping up by the minute. But when looking at the watch itself, I can point at the lack of AR coating on the crystal as something I would like to see different. It is by no means a deal breaker or anything, because it doesn't really interfere all that much. I imagine those reflections could potentially be more of a problem on the black dial version of the SARB. Other than that, all of my other issues are with the bracelet. I don't like the pin and collar system. I just don't. I don't see the point of using it when there's such a big chance that you lose one or more of those microscopic collars and practically render the bracelet useless. You have to be very careful when adjusting the size of the bracelet, and that brings me to the next issue with it, and that's the fact that there are only 2 micro adjustment holes on the clasp. Sure, 2 micro adjusts are better than none, but it still means that you are going to have a tough time finding the perfect fit for your wrist. In my case, it's either too tight or too loose. My last gripe about the bracelet is the way it integrates with the case, and I think Jody of Just One More Watch hit the nail on the head with this one when he said that it just seems like this bracelet was made for a different watch. All that being said, I still think it's a good looking bracelet, and it is definitely not a bad one. If this was my watch, I would keep it on the bracelet and maybe look into replacing the clasp. Now let's do the pros, the reasons why I like this watch so much. First of all, it's a beautiful watch. There's a good reason why it got the Baby Grand Seiko nickname. I mean, it looks and feels like a luxury watch. To me anyway. It does share more than a few design cues with the Grand Seiko Snowflake, which is a beautiful watch too. It is super comfortable to wear and has perfect size and proportions. It's a real treat to have on the wrist. It is finished very nicely and offers a great versatility, especially with its 100 meters of water resistance and the more than adequate Lumi Bright Lume. It is a great go anywhere, do anything kind of watch, and you can wear it to anything from a day at the office to a formal event like a wedding, and it won't look out of place. The materials used on this watch are worth a mention here too. You get a stainless steel construction of the case and bracelet, and the sapphire crystal covering the dial. So should you buy one in 2021? This is an awesome watch, but I'm not sure it is $700-800 worth of awesome. I can't see myself coughing out that amount of money for it, even though I really like it. I don't think you can justify that kind of premium just by the fact that it is no longer being manufactured. I mean, it was only discontinued about 3 years ago. It is not some rare vintage watch. If you can find it in a more reasonable price of, let's say, under $500, then by all means, go ahead and buy one if you really love it. Finding it new around $300 is just not realistic anymore, so it's understandable that you'll have to pay more than that if you want one. You can try and find it used and try to get a good bargain for it, but as time goes by, the condition of what you can find will naturally get worse and worse, and it would get harder and harder to get a decent one for a decent price. So I ask again, should you buy a Seiko SARB035 now? Well, no. Unless you can get a really, really good deal for it, and in that case, yes. I think that the value here drops lower and lower as the price go up, and it's a shame really when you think about it. Because this is genuinely a great watch that every watch collector or watch enthusiast should experience at some point in my opinion. And there isn't really a substitute for it in Seiko's current lineup. It's a well-rounded, well-specced, beautiful and comfortable watch, despite its minor shortcomings. I know that I really want to own one now, after I got to experience it in the metal. I would really hate to give it back to Alex. Anyway guys, as always, I want to hear what you guys think of the SARB035 and 033. Do you agree with me or not? Do share your take on whether you should buy one of them in 2021 in the comment section below. If you guys liked this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my affordable watch collection and hit the notification bell. That is the quickest way for you to support this channel. If you're on Instagram, you can follow me there as well. I post there almost every day, and you can connect with me on a more personal level. And if you're already here, check one of these two videos out as well. I want to thank Alex again for lending me his watch for review, and thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time.